In the form of the owl, he could sense the scent of the black blade. But how could the scent of the iron blood demon appear, he thinks. It was after 8 years. Raindrops fall in a flutter. Red raindrops that fall in a flutter. A single red raindrop of one dwarf falls in a flutter. 2 people are fighting. Blood Iron Demon, the greatest enemy, will never be forgiven even if he was to ask the entire world to pardon his sins through tears of blood. The white-haired and black-haired engage in a fierce battle. The ones that were fighting were siblings. But the white-haired states that they are no longer siblings because of the sins that he has committed. The other brother states that whether he thinks of him as a younger brother or not was entirely up to him, since he could not care less. This statement tests the patience of the white-haired brother. Patience was fading away. He uses an attack, Sword of the Heavenly Burst. The black-haired asks if it would be alright to pluck his brother's eyes out as he took out his. He also used his blood demon's art. They both attack each other with full force. Their swords collide, destroying everything around them. They both land on the rock nearby and look at each other. Both of them were shedding tears. One of them was seriously injured, stating that his father looks quite benevolent. He tells his brother to take care and falls off the rock. The white-haired look at his brother shedding tears for him. He then falls off the cliff. But was he still alive, the owl thought. But that should be impossible. The suspense was killing him. He tries to haste before his energy disappears. On the river, the monster is still confused about what had just happened. Who the hell was that kid? He had never met someone like him in all his years. He realizes something. He counts his jars and sees that one of them is missing. Bira had also taken one of the jars with him. He gets angry about his lost jar. But to think that he took one of his jars in a short span of time. This makes the monster realize that he was too careless, as he lost 2 of his jars. He then squeaks inside the jar. The monster's plans had been completely messed up by the kid, so he plans to return back before the sect leader notices. So, he tries to hurry up and find them as fast as he can. The sun was going to set. The man transformed into owl had just reached the scene. He transforms back to his human form, but realizes that he was late. But he sees the snakes that were cut earlier. He speculates if it was the Northern Sky Demon sect. To think that the Death Squad Northern Sky Demon sect would create chaos like that, he was amused. He could feel the energy of the Iron Blood Demon and the Northern Sect Demon sect. This was quite interesting for him. A girl sees that the person had taken the form of the owl again and left. She wonders if he had come to see if there was anything entertaining. The goat-like creature she was riding on talks and asks if that person was the master of Wamadwan in the neutral territory. She says that is correct and that his name was Banjo. The goat then states that it was his first time seeing Kalan being defeated like that, and the situation there could not be so simple. The goat refers to the girl as the sect leader. The sect leader states that she is thinking the same, and a being of immense power must have intervened, addressing the goat as the elder. The elder then asks why she had released the young man, maybe for some personal reason, but before the elder could finish the sentence, she says that she will let him know when the time is right, and for now they should search for Kalan. The elder says that the handsome man from earlier looked marriageable. The sect leader asks if she should go alone. The elder says no and starts searching. While going, the elder again asks if she was in disguise because of the young man from earlier. The sect leader tells the elder to keep quiet, to which the elder replies that it was difficult to not ask when it was such a curious matter. The man from earlier seems to wake up slowly. He smells something heavenly, but at the same time it smells fishy. He looks to his left and feels that there were bears in heaven grilling the fish and eating. The bear then looks at the man, which confuses him. The bear throws a fish and asks him to eat it. The then stands up, thinking that the bear spoke human tongue. He thanks the bears and thinks that he was actually in heaven. He then thanks the bears. The bears were also full, so they all stood up to walk for a while. When the bears start walking, he sees that the kid from earlier was also eating fish, asking him if he had a good dream. He then asks him to hurry and eat before it gets cold. The man's eyes get all watery, thinking that the kid he tried to protect ended up in heaven too. He starts sobbing, confusing Bira. He thinks of Bira as a poor child, and if only he had held out for a little longer, that would let the kid escape. He cries out, saying that Bari could blame him as much as he wants. He was all in a delusion while Bari was munching on his food. Bari asks if he has hurt his head. They were not in heaven. Bari tells them this and suggests that he starts eating. Hearing that the man was happy that the boy was alive. But that meant that he was alive too, but his body was poisoned. Bari states that much poison was nothing for him. The man thinks that the bear must have saved his life and were the gods of the mountains. Bari questions the man's judgment, as he was calling those gluttons mountain gods. The man asks the boy not to say something like that to the bears that saved them, and instead offer them some things. Bari really thinks that the man has not injured his head, but normally was an idiot. He sees that the bears were gone. He truly thought of them as the mountain gods. Hyung then takes out sake. Bira was intrigued by the smell from the bottle. Hyung tells it was difficult procured and wanted to drink with someone. Bira then tells that he is really close with the mountain god and should share the same with him. Hyung tells that he is too small to drink that. Bira says that he is only making excuses and was cheap to not share it. Hyung then remembers his past about sharing a drink with his friend when they were young and enjoying it. He remembers about the pendant that he gave to his friend as something to remember him by. And before he could get out of those memories, the bottle was gone from his hand. Bira was drinking wine. After drinking, he gives the bottle back to Hyung. Bira had drunk all the liquor. He then stands dancing after getting all drunk. He asks Hyung if they should go to the river to catch some fish. After rolling over and landing on Hyung, Bira tells Hyung that he knows people like him, but he shares advice with Hyung. Bira says that he should always care about himself first and always think about saving his own skin. Bira asked if he had ever asked him for help, so without asking he should not put his own life in danger, as he would look like a pushover. Hyung apologizes for making Bira worry, but Bira tells her what is done. But for a split second, Hyung reminded Bira of his grandfather. It may have looked pathetic, but Hyung looked very dependable, exactly like his grandfather. Bira then remembers the last time he saw his grandfather. Ira was crying out for his grandfather to let Bira help, but his grandfather stood to fight alone and Bira was sent on the back of the bear. Bira was crying out to his grandfather, asking him to come with them. His grandfather had taught him to always save yourself first. Then he questioned his grandfather why he was not coming with them. While the bear ran away, Bira cried for his grandfather, calling him a liar. Bira tells Hyung that he misses his grandfather. Hyung looks at Bira as Bira tells him that he wonders if he is still alive. Hyung asks Bira what his name was. Bira answers his name and tells him that it was a name given by his grandfather. Bira asks what Hyung was going to do with his name, as he tells him that he was never going to see him again. Hyung tells that he will count on Bira and asks about the fishing that he was mentioning earlier. Bira hears the name fishing and tells Hyung that they should leave right then and there to catch fishes. Hyung tells Bira to calm down. Bira falls down and instantly falls asleep. Hyung then covers Bira with his fur coat and thanks Bira for reminding him the importance of his life. He felt guilty for not obeying what the lady from earlier had told him. The northern sect leader had told him that the friend that Hyung had been looking for was dead and gives him the accessory that she got from him. Then she told him not to come back because if he did he would die the next time. Hyung wants to confirm the death of his friend with his own eyes. He looks at Bira and tells him that he would surely go fishing with him if he survived this time. He then plans to go back to the battlefield. On the other hand, Bira was sleeping soundly. He had a dream of going fishing together with the bear and his grandfather, singing songs and enjoying. Hyung leaves while Bira falls asleep.
Thank you for joining us in this recap journey. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Comment if you have suggestions, want more of the series. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Do subscribe if you want more similar content. This is Universe Nexus, your passport to the immersive realms of anime and manga.